They've fallen and they can't get up. The Rangers have put the fall in fall baseball. That's coming next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, we're not allowed to swear on the show anymore, so we'll start with WTH or WTF or any of those.
Gosh darn it.
Yeah, gosh darn. What the heck happened? Yeah. I mean, here we are a week later. A week ago, Jeff, we're all excited thinking about the prospects of just taking 2 out of 3 in Houston and having your own course and your own trajectory. And, man, 7 losses in a row later. It's unbelievable.
It is. The number is. I don't think the Rangers falling out of contention's unbelievable.
No.
I'm not sure. We've talked about what you're counting on Cody Freeman and Michael Hellman to lead your offense.
Yeah.
Well, maybe someday, but not now, not in these circumstances. And it was pretty interesting yesterday. Merrill Kelly, the starting pitcher, he came into the media room yesterday, and he's a veteran, and he's only been on the team a couple months, but what's happened here? And he gave a 100% correct answer. He said, the young guys got us back into it, but it was unfair of them to expect them to continue to carry the load, and maybe the moment caught up with them, the league caught up with them, the scouting. The scouts always figure somebody out, so they got to it, and and then the pitching didn't do their job, but he very succinctly described the situation, and they're all disappointed, and I know a lot of the fans are disappointed. Probably all of them are. I enjoy covering playoff baseball, so I'm a little disappointed.
Of course. Yeah.
But now it's time to start looking ahead, and that starts this week. There's 6 games to go, and kind of got to wonder, who are the Rangers going to put on the field?
Yeah, and that's where we want to start, as we will officially welcome you, I guess, to the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson, Kat's over there. She is the cursing police, right? The monitor.
She is.
So we absolutely can't try to take any liberties with Kat, the Queen, as our producer. So hence the acronyms and so forth. What is that? Shorthand. It's social media and texting shorthand. But anyway, we're going to get to various things about this team. Biggest offseason priority is probably something we'll have to talk about. Probably a lot, but we'll at least dabble in it today and talk about what went wrong. I think we all know.
Sounds like a lot of fun, John.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And we'll start with, so who the heck's going to play? Is it worth playing any of them? When I was there, I mentioned this on the show yesterday, although I sounded like a robot, Jeff. But, when I was there Saturday, there were already questions. That was 2 losses ago, by the way, pregame Saturday. But there were already questions being asked. Okay, so Jacob deGrom, he's scheduled. He's sort of in line to pitch Tuesday. Theoretically, could pitch the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Or do you just shut him down? And Bose just said he wants to pitch.
Right.
And when he wants to pitch, he's going to pitch.
Well, okay. We'll see.
Yeah, I know.
Bruce Bochy, as great as he is, and all that he's done in the game, he still has a boss. His boss has a boss, and got to protect your investments, and at a certain level, that's what these players are. They're investments, and you're investing in wins, and So 2026, potentially you're going to have DeGrom and Evaldi in the rotation, and you should have Seager and Simeon back up the middle. That's a lot of money in contract right
It
there.
is.
That's more than $100 million in contracts, and you got to be careful with those guys. Now, Evaldi definitely isn't going to pitch. He had a follow up MRI on Friday. Wasn't going to get the results until Saturday. I was off, so I didn't see him Sunday. So something I need to follow up on. But he hasn't thrown a ball in more than a month, so he's not pitching.
No.
Simeon and Seager continue to work toward playing again, especially Simeon, and honestly, of Seager, Simeon, and DeGrom, the greatest risk I think is with Simeon. He's the lowest paid of those three, but his injury is, DeGrom's not hurt, all right. So, but his injury is worse than Seager's, and he got, he had X-rays recently, and everything was cleared so that the Liz Frank situation isn't a concern. But man, what if in this last game he fouls the ball off the same spot?
Right.
You're talking, and if it is a Liz Frank injury, you're talking he won't be ready for the start of next season.
No, and some of the NBA guys who have ruptured that Liz Frank or whatever you do when you hurt it as badly as you can, they miss an entire year.
Right.
Yeah. So you don't want to mess with that Liz Frank. That's a dangerous one to trifle with, and it is it's just if it's truly ruptured, it's just such a long healing process. Yeah. So maybe the wisdom there is, as much as Marcus Simeon wants to play, right? As much as he likes to send a message to everybody, and his teammates and the world, like, I'm going to tough this thing out as much as I can. The wise choice there is probably just to not have him mess with it.
Probably. Now, there are, ancillary things you can look at, like, if you want young guys to learn what it's like to come back from an injury and to be a professional and to want to play even when there's nothing to play for, then maybe you let Marcus Simeon go. He doesn't have to play every day. You can just play one game, if you wanted to do that. And I think Simeon, or for Seager, I think that would be a big deal too, to see him come and play, fight his way back. I mean, it's an appendectomy, but still, it's they went into your body to remove something. They went through muscle and but he's been swinging a bat. He said last week in Houston he wants to play. That was on Wednesday. A lot has happened in since then, but I still think that he should, if he wants to play, they should let him.
Sure.
DeGrom's the one.
Yeah.
All right. Now I wrote about it today, or I published it late last night. I think 30 is a big number for him.
It is.
He's at 29 starts. Number 30 would be tomorrow. Let him make it. Okay. Now, say, Jacob, you're not pitching past the fifth. Maybe qualify it. Say, all right, you can make this start, but we're not going to let you go past 75 pitches. Hold him to a strict pitch count. He's done more than anybody expected he would do. He's done more than he's done since 2019.
It's amazing.
And it's fantastic. You can tell, though, he's showing signs of fatigue. The command is off. The velocity is still there, but the command is off, and the command is what makes Jacob DeGrom Jacob DeGrom. His ERA is 3.01, I believe. I'm willing to bet he wants to get that to 2.99.
I bet you that's true.
So I would think that there are a couple reasons he would want to pitch, and but he does not need to pitch this weekend. The only reason I would think they would let him pitch this weekend is if the game against the Guardians has a meaningful impact on the playoff race, which it very well could. The code in baseball, which the Diamondbacks violated in 2023 on their last day of the season, the code in baseball is to not affect the outcome of a playoff race by sending out a AAA lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the Rangers and Bruce Bochy would probably feel compelled to send out a very good starting pitcher. Now, let's say it's Patrick Corbin. All right, Patrick Corbin's fine.
Sure.
But if you could start Jacob deGrom and you don't in a game that's going to affect 3 teams' playoff chances, then maybe there's a chance for him to go out and pitch again. But and you go back to last season, Rangers were out of it, and who started their last game?
Nathan Eovaldi, and begged to and said,
he wanted to pitch.
Yeah,
pitching. He tossed, I think, 7 scoreless innings, and they won the game.
Yep.
There's something to that too. Being a professional, being a good teammate, taking the ball. And at this point, I asked Bruce Bochy yesterday, "What do you want to see this last week?" He said, "Play hard, just play hard." And they owe it to the fans, they owe it to themselves to go out there and play hard and be professional. And that's a huge thing in this game. Being a professional carries a lot of weight. That's why Michael Young, Simeon are such revered players around the league because of the way they play, how they do it. Michael Young was the Marvin Miller Man of the Year twice.
Yeah,
you don't get that if you're a bad guy.
Yeah,
a bad
100%.
teammate. So I think that there are ample opportunities and reasons to sit these guys, but at the same time, there's also, you could see a way that they should play.
Yeah, and that's the difficult decision, right? But again, not in a case like Simeon, for example, where it could do damage like long term, right? You don't want to make any of these injuries linger. And certainly the Seager one, and again, Jeff's right. I mean, they removed a part from his body. It's not like it's only minor surgery if it's on somebody else, right?
Right.
It's major to him and to his body. That said, if he pops those stitches or whatever are there, swinging a bat, it's like, oh, well, they just got to sew it back up again, right? And it'll heal in the offseason. Simeon, things went poorly with that foot or with that Liz Frank. It could linger not only through the offseason, but into next season. Yeah. And like, how many times have we heard it? The importance of a normal, regular offseason, right? An offseason where you're not recovering from injury, an offseason where you can just go about, especially for veterans like Seager and Simeon who know what normal offseasons are, and you can just go about it exactly as you have in the past. Now, conversation for a different day might be that Marcus Simeon needs to go about it differently than he has in the past. In fact, a man of great routine, habit, a creature of habit, is getting older. And so he may have to change the way he approaches things in order to adjust to father time, basically, sort of taken over.
Yeah, and that's something else the Rangers need to look at in regards to the workload that they put on their bodies day to day, and it's especially so with Wyatt Langford because the topic came up yesterday. Do you guys have any thoughts about why Wyatt keeps having these oblique injuries and lat injuries? And Bruce Bochy's answer was, well, we just think he works too hard. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but he needs to cut down on the swings before games. And it is a violent swing.
It is, man.
and he doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. And it's all muscle and but anyway, that's something they have to look at, I guess. I mean, I don't know that you can make your lats any, I don't know, more pliable. I have no idea. But that's one thing that they need to also look at. And so, and if Wyatt's not feeling right, he needs to be honest and say, I don't think I should play today. These games aren't important. And Bruce Bochy basically told him that. They've talked to Adolis about his playing time the rest of the season, and he's going to basically, it sounds like he's going to be available off the bench. Maybe Tuesday he could start if the 3 days off, Saturday, Sunday, and today's off day, makes the quad feel better. But he does not look good out there running down fly balls.
No, and he made the plays. He's made them, but man, he doesn't.
Right, and not nearly as easily as he usually does.
No,
and so then if that's the case, if Adolis Garcia doesn't start any more games for the Rangers, as he started his last game for him, and I think that's a very distinct possibility. I'm seeing some Jonah Heim talk from Marco in there, how he thinks Heim and Josh Smith are the biggest cancers on the team. I would disagree. I don't want to call anybody a cancer, and especially when it comes to Josh Smith, who's played 7 positions this year.
Yeah.
I don't think Josh Smith is part of the problem. Adley Rushman, that's always a nice thing to think about, but I bet the Orioles aren't ready to give up on their 1-1 from just a few years ago. 2019, in fact, he was selected ahead of Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a great year, but he's also been hurt a little bit, and I would still not want to get rid of Adley Rushman.
Yeah, it's going to take more than Jonah Heim to get him. There is no doubt about that. Now, we want to get into more of those things that you're talking about there. We also will get into sort of the talk of where the heck this thing went wrong.
Well, we got one more big decision we can talk about, the manager.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We got to talk about the manager, too. It's all coming up. DLLS Rangers podcast. S/R. That is the logo. You can't see it on the Shady Rays. But I was actually driving the other day, and the sun hit it just right, and I'm like, heck, do I have something on my glasses? I do. I have a logo. I never noticed it because it's kind of dark, but S/R. That's the coolest logo in sunglasses right now because it stands for Shady Rays. My favorite. I've got a couple of pair. I encourage you to get a couple of pair. They're as well made as any other sunglass out there. They're polarized. They're fashionable. They're stylish. They're fantastic. And if you go to shadyrays.com, all you have to do is use the code DLLS35, and you get 35% off. They aren't super expensive to start with. Take 35% off of that, and you're going to feel pretty good about the sunglasses you got for a pretty good price at shadyrays.com.
And then Monarch Money, you're going to tell Monarch Money how much you saved compared to, some
of the other brands,
a bigger name brand. And Monarch Money is going to tell you how to parlay that money to help improve your day-to-day life. It's not about necessarily saving, though that's a component of what Monarch Money does, but they help you manage your life and give you the life you want to live, as opposed to the one where you're scrambling. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul, as they say, John. And Monarch Money, let me tell you, everybody can use it, especially if you have kids, especially if you are planning a big trip, or you got to plan a wedding for one of your kids, any kind of life event. Monarch Money is going to help you step by step plan for it and still maintain the lifestyle you are used to. It's built for people with busy lives. So if you have kids, you're automatically busy. You don't want to leave any money on the table. So they're going to help you make the most of your dollar, and it's going to create peace and harmony with you and your spouse, because a lot of arguments I hear, don't have any experience about this personally.
No, how would you?
Are over money. Yeah. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code DLLS at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code DLLS.
You see what we just did there? We told you that Shady Rays glasses can make you rich. So
and make you happy, make your wife happy.
Happy, rich, happy wife, happy life.
What more do you need?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So where it went wrong, we know. I was talking to so many people, sort of just taking the pulse of everybody after the Mets trip, the people who were on the trip. And I was just like, so what was the feeling coming out of New York? And they were like, great, right?
Yeah.
They were like, we couldn't have felt better. I mean, and then I heard, this is, I think, a great testament to the manager that hours after the game, the last game in New York, that game where they stranded runners on third base with one out in 2 different late innings. Can't remember if it was 7th and 8th or 8th and 9th, but somewhere in there. And he was still seething. Like, we got to win that game. We got to get that run home. And I love that, right? I love that competitiveness burns so hot in him. Again, keeping it in context, remember, they had just taken 2 out of 3 from Houston at home. They had swept the Brewers at home. They go on the road where they've been terrible, and they took 2 out of 3 from the Mets, right? It just seems like you'd go, you win some, you lose some, right? Not him. He wanted to win that game so badly, and that is a guy I like managing my team, Jeff. I mean, and he doesn't show it to us that often. This wasn't a comment he made in the media, right?
Yeah.
This was a comment he made privately to some people who were chatting with him. And I'm not sure. We don't know for sure how much of that he shows to the players. I imagine a lot more than he does to the media. But he's learned over the years that, if you say something like that in the media, they can do so many different things with it. So he's great with the media, but he's not. There's certain things he's going to be very cautious about sharing with the media. But anyway, I loved that story that I heard. That's him. That's who he is.
He was pretty ticked off Monday night.
Yeah.
After the game in Houston, when there were some decisions that could have been made and ones that were made, he was hot. He was mad. He didn't care for our line of questioning. And the next day he apologized to us. I mean, that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
But I think Bruce Bochy will return. We can base it off of stories like that where he wants to win.
Yeah.
The desire is still there to manage a winning team and to win a championship. There's the Giants thing floating around out there again on a social media post that I don't even think was real, just because nobody has followed up with it. and
right.
I don't even think Bob Nightingale tweeted it at the time, and he's the one it's linked to. So there is a connection there. But the Giants, it's worth noting, have a really good manager.
They do.
Named Bob Melvin.
Yeah.
And the Giants have made a very, very compelling late surge here.
They have.
And
so what's the reason?
They are 3 games out of the wild card. Now they are below 500. They have a lot of work to do to get there. But they're in a hell of a tough division.
They are.
There, does Bruce Bochy want to go back and be in the same division as the Giants and the
Dodgers,
and the Dodgers,
and
the Padres and the Diamondbacks, or does he want to take his chances with the Mariners and the Astros? I know which way I would go. Now maybe there is some smoke to that Giants rumor, and if there is, maybe he can leverage it. Say, hey, give me a reason to not talk to them, But I think he would come back. I think he will come back. I don't think he likes the way the season is sitting. I don't think he's going to be happy with the way this thing finished. And again, very little of this, I know a lot of people like to blame him. Very little of this is his fault.
Right.
This team has not been at full strength for more than a month. And they've been without their best player for almost a month. And through smoke and mirrors and magic and everything, he got them back into contention and got them tied for the last wild card spot at one point. So the desire's there. The managerial know-how is still there. I would put the Rangers and how many players they've used in their last 25 games, probably more than anybody around. They've used everybody.
Yep. In
almost every game.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They've run out of position players at times. So I think he wants to do it. And Texas is close enough to Tennessee where he can get back if he needs to. It's a short flight from Nashville. He's got a place here. The front office loves him. The coaching staff loves him. Pretty sure the players love him. So I think that Bruce Bochy will return to the Rangers.
Yeah. Now, and somebody has already said it in the chat that there's a lot of bullies out there on Twitter that want Boch gone, and I found it interesting as I kind of watched those people too. Like, he gets no credit for that. 21 or what were the 16-4, 16-5?
Yeah.
Yeah. That 21 game straight. He gets no credit for that. But then the minute that he sets the little rascals down, because you've got Adolis Garcia back, and he's been so good in Houston, you kind of have to test that, right?
Yeah.
And the minute he said the typical Bochy, like, oh, okay, is that typical? I don't think that's typical at all. These are people that, for whatever reason, just they probably wouldn't like whoever the manager was.
Yeah,
right?
and it's if you're looking for somebody to blame, I don't know. I mean, the Rangers had somebody in the start of the year, the hitting coach Donnie Ecker. They fired him. I don't think the offense got better. Guys who languished, Marcus Semien, Jonah Heim, Adolis, those guys. If we're going to blame people, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Why aren't they able to hit? Why weren't they able to make adjustments they needed to make?
Sure.
And then you can look at the lineup, and you can say, boy, this lineup is not functional right now because it has too many of the same type of hitters, which we've been saying for months.
Yep.
So that's on the general manager to change up. And I can understand, 22, 23, you had pretty good offense. And then last year it declines. You're like, okay, that's a fluke. You could say that. Say, the guys we've got have done it before and they need to do it again. All right. So they give him the chance. Didn't happen. So now you can't give him a third shot.
Nope.
All right. It's time to make the changes. And I think it does start with the two who we've mentioned, Heim and Garcia. There's some monetary concern there. Are you going to get better value elsewhere for that money? And my thought is yes, you are. And then can Marcus Semien rebound? That's another huge question.
It is.
And it wasn't that long ago he finished third in the AL MVP.
Yep.
And can he get back to the player he has been? And you certainly hope so. But I think if you plan on him not being in the top part of your lineup next year, maybe he can earn his way up there.
Right.
But for right now, I think
he's a
realistically
7-hole hitter.
You got to think of him 6 at best.
Yeah.
So now is Jake Burger going to get better? You hope so.
Yeah.
You should be encouraged by what he's done here since he came back from the quad, and then he had that little wrist deal. He played pretty well, but he is hot and cold.
Yeah, and that's I was talking to Bassick over the weekend, and he was saying that he's like, I don't know if I've seen a guy like just the peaks and valleys for Jake Burger. Man, those peaks are awesome, but then the valleys are,
Well, but they have that too with Jonah Heim and with Josh Young.
Yeah,
you have, and that's is that another question? What do you do with is Josh Young for sure your third baseman? Are you sold that Josh Young is the guy? He was great in 23, right? He had the broken thumb late in the year, but was a great player and all-star. Last year, he had the broken wrist early in the season. That was a tough injury and needed another surgery afterwards. Okay, so did he have a normal offseason? Probably not. Should he be better than he was this season?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So there's some question there. So we'll see how they do it. There's a lot of ways they can go, but change is coming to the position player side. And of course, change will come to the pitching side, but really through no fault of their own. They signed a lot of guys to I guess it is their fault. They signed a lot of guys to 1-year deals, and then they had great years. So they have increased their value. So, in the bullpen, Patrick Corbin, you're going to, Tyler Mallay's going to be a free agent. He pitched great the other night. I mean, why not bring back Tyler Malley?
Sure.
But, can you get through a full season? Can you have, Evaldi's going to get hurt. That's going to happen.
Yep.
So can you have guys that are going to get hurt? Well, you got to have a lot of depth. So there's just so much that needs to be done.
There is. That's, and that right there actually is one of the reasons that Chris Young always says it, still says it. We'll say it all off season. You can never have too much pitching. And so that'll certainly continue to always be a focus of this front office and of this administration. But there are a lot of other things to deal with, including whether it's from somebody in-house or maybe they just need to go out and find somebody. But by God, do they need a leadoff hitter? And that's not me crapping on Josh Smith like some of you in the chat are, by the way. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Josh. Let's talk about one of the questions in there was a good one. Can sort of bad chemistry have an effect on the team? We talk about all those things and some of those offseason priorities next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, and it's still that great month for us. September is such a fun month, and it is the Big Brothers, Big Sisters month for us. These are our partners. We're so proud of them. We're so proud to be partners with them. And this week, we're asking you to become a big. That is a big brother or a big sister. You will gain so much from it. Anthony Andro has told us, among others, that it is the greatest reward for the least amount of effort that you can possibly get. To see kids like we see on that graphic smiling like that, or to help them navigate some of the challenges, especially of life as a teenager, but even younger, when they're just in need of that role model, that big brother, or even in some cases, father figure, mother figure, big sister. So it's easy to do. Just go to bigbrothers.com and sign up to become a big. They're our partners, and we're proud.
And while you're signing up for things, sign up to be a member of our Supporters Club, which is a new endeavor that we have undertaken here at DLLS. It's for the real ones. It's like Die Hard Plus.
Yes.
Now, you could just be in the Supporters Club, because what you're going to do is you're going to get access to, at 2 levels, you can get access to exclusive emojis, which are pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
But also content that you don't get anywhere else, content that you don't even get on our podcast or our mini pods, or what are the other ones?
Hook Shorts.
Hook Shorts, yeah. Now, these are pretty special, and they're for members only. And we were just talking about the off season. We're going to have all kinds of stuff. We're going to have emergency pods that are going to be popping up all the time. We're also going to have a lot of stuff that you will want as a member of our Supporters Club.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We'd encourage you to do it. I see, that is it Seahusker? Seahusker is thinking we should just blow everything up.
Well,
it's not possible.
Seahusker, I grew up in Colorado, and so I'm a huge fan of the Big 8. And have so much respect for Nebraska, and am shocked that they've lost 29 straight games to ranked opponents. So I think Seahusker might also want to blow things up in Lincoln. Although I love their coach. He's fantastic, Matt Rule.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's great.
I thought he should have been the Cowboys coach when they hired Garrett. No, when they hired McCarthy. Yeah.
Anyway, he's got it going in the right direction. But let's not get too crazy here. And you might have too much sports pain happening right now between the Huskers and the Rangers. So maybe have a drink, kind of take a deep breath here. Too much dip on your chip, apparently. Chin. Clarence Hill. That's a good one. I like that.
That's a good line.
That is good. I don't think blowing it up is going to happen. They've got too much money into their core guys. They believe that they can do this, and Chris Young is just not the rebuild kind of guy. I just can't see him go through a rebuild. I think it would kill him. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. But rebuild, I think, is the least likely scenario this offseason.
Agreed.
However, I will say they do need to make trades to help restock the farm system.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's a pretty good idea for the Rangers to strike a trade that brings them back only prospects, because they really are thin out there in the farm system. It's
and
pretty
especially
thin.
At position players.
Yeah, especially at the upper levels where you need this depth. So that's kind of where I'm at, because Sebastian Walcott, maybe he'll be an option next year.
Probably not.
But I think he'll start at Double-A again, and then Cam Colley had a nice year. Abby Ortiz is having a good year. But Abby Ortiz is, he can play a little outfield, but he's a first baseman, DH type. Well, unfortunately, you've got one of those, and that's another question. Can you do anything about Jock Peterson? We're getting way too far ahead of ourselves. We got to save our bullets for
we got
for
a
the
lot
offseason.
We got a whole off season, and we got a lot to talk about. The question is a good one. Can bad chemistry affect play? It can, but it's kind of a weird thing because it's a chicken or the egg scenario. Because they're for 21 games in late August and early September. Man, there was great chemistry.
Yeah.
It's like if you win, the chemistry's great, and if you lose, it's not so good. I'd like you to show me, a losing team that has fantastic chemistry.
Right.
It's just hard to create that. It's hard. There's no substitute for winning, and so, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Right? I know this. I know that when these guys get together at spring training, and it's every team, but when they get together at spring training, they're all so excited to see each other, and they're all having fun, and they're doing things. They're doing the right things. I mean, we remember hearing the stories last year about how they all went to those escape rooms and things like that, right? They'll play golf together. They do the things that are right to help sort of build the correct camaraderie and that type of thing. But it can't be forced, and it can't be anything other than organic. And it becomes organic when a team succeeds. Now, could a sports psychologist, sports helper in that regard maybe bolster some guys when they're feeling really down? Sometimes, obviously losing or not having success at your job affects everybody a little bit differently. So who knows? But they've had that. I mean, they've traveled a person like that before, Jeff. I don't think they are these days, or are they?
I was reading a comment. I didn't hear that.
Do they have a sports psychologist type
They do,
person
yeah.
right now with them?
They have everything. They have everything they could possibly need to succeed.
So.
They have. I don't think so. But anyway, and you're right. Spring training, and that's why spring training is so important as a reporter, is because they're so laid back and happy and willing to talk and have ideas and optimism and talk about things going right and what went wrong. It's like they have a clear conscience, and so they're ready to go. But they do go out and play golf. They have a good time, and some of them don't play golf. So, but they're more together. They'll room together. Some of them, the single dudes, and just have a good time. And then you get into the regular season and you're back at home. You're having your families with you. So at home, you have dad duties, things you got to do, husband duties. I get it. On the road, that's where it has to. That's a real good time to bond. That's where I would rather, as a reporter, cover road games than home games because we have more time in the clubhouse.
Yep.
And it's true, on road games you do see guys in the clubhouse more. And maybe it's because they don't have the same facilities and cool stuff that they can access at Globe Life Field. But you see these guys around, and it is good. They are playing cards or talking or whatever it is. But are they going out and getting dinner together? Are they having lunch together? So that's something that probably needs to be evaluated and looked at. Because some guys do play golf during the season. A lot of the coaches will play golf on the off days. I don't know how much the players are doing it.
Not much.
And if their wives come on the trip, are they spending time with their wives, which is fine, but is it at the expense of some good bonding time with their teammates? So there's just some things to evaluate. I think everything needs to be evaluated, though.
It does.
From medical all the way down to how they interact on the road. Lineup, yes. Pitching, how are they going to repeat this great pitching season? Everything needs to be examined. The front office needs to look at, scouting. What did they miss on? What did they miss on Jock Peterson? You know, what didn't they see? What was the misstep there? So there just all kinds of things, and I'm sure that they've already started the self audit, if you will. I'm assuming exit interviews have started. If not, they'll be done in earnest this week, and then we'll have a opportunity to speak with the manager and the GM and the president of baseball operations at some point next week to dissect what happened this season and what to expect in the off season. And then, it's going to be busy, man. We're going to have a busy off season.
It is. And again, I think that any decision that is made about the manager will come quickly because there's all these assistant coaches whose lives also kind of hang in the balance, right? Yeah. And so, I don't know, probably not, but possibly even this week.
Sure.
An announcement could be made, that,
it'd be, last home game would be a nice way to kick off the day.
Yep.
Right after the national anthem or the first pitch, say, ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Bochy's coming back for 2 more years.
Yep.
That'd be a nice way to do it. Seeing questions about the hitting coach. Well, I think Justin Vealey will be back. He's the technical guy. Seth Connor seems to be somebody that a lot of the guys like as assistant hitting coach. But Brett Boone's the big question, and I think Brett Boone is enjoying being with a team. I think he's really enjoyed being back in the game and the day-to-day grind and trying to figure the things out and trying to teach these young guys not necessarily how to hit, but like game strategy and things like that, more old school approach. Keep in mind, he was on the best regular season team in baseball history.
Yep.
And they, different era, great players, surrounded by Hall of Famers on that team. And he finished second in the MVP that year. Yeah. That's how good that team was and how Brett Boone was at times in his career. He knows how to hit. The question is trying to bridge the gap between the technical side and the do what the game asks you to do side. Games, situational hitting. I wonder though, and John, I think we've shared this view. Does Brett Boone have loftier goals now that he's back in the game? Would he like to be a manager somewhere?
Sure.
His brother is Aaron Boone, who's been managing the Yankees for 10 years now, 9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
He's been around a long time. Would Brett like to do that?
Yes.
And I think he probably would. Is there an opportunity for him to do that? Possibly. I mean, there are going to be some openings.
There are.
Now, they're not going to be the Yankees. They're not going to be glamorous jobs. They're going to be tough jobs.
Yeah.
But there's only 30 of them, and if you want to do it bad enough, well, then you'll take one of those jobs. But I don't know. So I don't know if he would come back. I really don't. But I do like some of the things he talks about, some of the things he does. It makes a lot of sense. And it's basically what baseball was until maybe a couple of years ago.
It's interesting because the hot assistant that becomes the manager, right, that becomes a candidate for all the managerial jobs is usually that because he's had such success at the assistant coach level.
Yeah.
And by almost no measure, unfortunately, would we say that Brett Boone has had great success yet. Now, he didn't even have a full season. Right. And we love the way he is coaching these guys up, but it hasn't necessarily taken hold. And part of that may also be the people that they have, right? They need a more varied lineup in order to make all of these things happen. But in any event, I don't know. I don't know if he's a candidate at a lot of places yet. He could be based on the name. I mean, his dad was a manager. His brother's a manager, right? He was a great player when he played, second in MVP. So maybe just based on that, he becomes a candidate. But to me, you need a year of real success as an assistant coach, as a either a pitching coach or a hitting coach generally.
Yeah.
To be in that conversation every time there's an opening.
Yeah, and I think there are a couple guys in-house that obviously Skip Schumacher.
Sure.
Everybody loves Skip Schumacher. even though he only did it for 2 years with the Marlins. Rarity said, surprised Mike Maddox, to my knowledge, has never thought of being a manager. He was interviewed by the Red Sox after the 10 season, I think. I think it was after the 2010 season. Maybe it was 11. I was in Milwaukee for the GM meeting. So anyway, 10 or 11, he was interviewed by the Red Sox, and then where his daughters were at the time, they were in high school. He decided to not pursue it, but his name at that point had come up. Anyway, so you got Skip Schumacher. You have Nick Hundley, who is a former catcher who's been one of CY's confidants as a special assistant. And I tell you, Bobby Wilson is a smart son of a gun.
He is.
Bobby Wilson, a former catcher.
Another former catcher.
He does such a great job with the catchers and teaching them and all that stuff. But I think Bobby Wilson eventually is going to be a big league manager.
Yeah.
Look,
all the best ones were catchers.
That's right. You know? Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy included.
Yep.
So anyway, that's just a beginning of the look of a deep dive that we'll be doing all off season long and reacting and responding to how the Rangers actually end up approaching this off season. That's all, really, like they say, weeks and months ahead. But for now, we continue to focus on the here and now, especially as these races in baseball tighten up, especially in the American League. Let's talk about that in our batting cleanup segment next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Well, I hate if you missed our 85% off sale because, man, there were some deals going over there.
Yeah.
I bought 3 shirts.
Atta baby.
Yeah. Jeff's keeping his powder dry for the hats.
That's right.
But our merchandise is fantastic. I saw Bobby's wearing that one today with the that either looks like Vegas or a barbecue. I think it's the old Pit barbecue sign. That one up in the upper left. Bobby's got that one on today, and they're all great. And endorsed by none other than former Rangers GM John Daniels.
That's right.
Who was here and did the show with us and loves the shirts. He's bought some, but we've given him a couple. All you have to do is be a guest on our show, and we will give you a shirt. That's the payment for being a guest on our show.
Right.
Or go to store.allcitynetwork.com to get one for free. I mean, for money. Or, Jeff, there's a way to get one for free.
That's right. You can go to alldls.com or punch or do your little phone camera thing on that QR code, and you can become a diehard. $79.99. Also, you've recently missed a hell of a sale, but still at $6.50 a month, it's such a bargain. On the way in, I got a Chick-fil-A sandwich and a large Coke for $8.13.
Right.
So if I just cut that out, bang. Anyway, do it because you'll become the smartest. You probably are smart if you're watching our shows already. You'll become even smarter, not just at baseball, but Cowboys, Stars, Mavs, Wings, and because almost all of our written content is behind the paywall. And the only way to access it is to be a diehard. You're going to get 20% of our events, 20% off our merch, and again, you get the free shirt when you become a diehard. So, what are you waiting for? Do it today. Become a diehard.
Hottest teams in the American League right now, pretty obviously, the Seattle Mariners, who have been on a tear, Jeff, and who it just always makes you happy. I mean, I'd be so much happier, obviously, if the Astros had lost 6 in a row.
Right.
But I'll take 3 in a row. And there was the Mariners just put a beat down on them last night.
They did, and that's done now.
Yeah.
Well, the
division. Yeah.
The Mariners go home to face the Rockies now.
Yeah.
And so
and all they need is, I think they need 2 wins and the Astros need 1 loss.
Yeah, the magic number is 3.
3.
So,
yeah. So it could happen as early as Wednesday.
Yeah. So congrats to the Mariners. They made the right moves at the deadline. They've had the pitching all year. I don't think anybody could have foreseen. I might have made up a word there. Anyway, Cal Raleigh.
No way.
Just crazy. And he's got a chance at the American League record.
Yeah.
He really does.
6 games left.
Yeah, he could at least match Judge at 62. Maybe you surpass him. That Dodger series is going to be tough, but at that point, it's not going to matter. The Astros are still have like a 62% chance to make the postseason. But the way the Guardians are playing right now, and that's kind of a trouble area for your Detroit Tigers.
It is indeed, and that was the other team, the Guardians, that are among the hottest in the American League. I mean, where did this come from, right? They were, flirting around with it, and they were fine, and you kind of expected them and the Royals to basically do what the Royals have done, like, it was fun, but, man, the Guardians are playing great. They don't have Emmanuel Clase. I mean, obviously they have Jose Ramirez, who's fantastic.
Fantastic.
But they, they've had some injuries to the pitching staff, and amazingly, they just keep doing it, and they beat up the Tigers last week. For some reason, every American League team is off today.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
Every single American League team is off today. Their series all start tomorrow, and again, it is the Tigers, who, by the way, we're getting to the coldest teams in the American League too, and that is the Tigers first and foremost. And they play. Look at that, a 15.5. They had a 15.5 game lead, the Tigers, at one point, and it's unbelievable. There's a chance that the Tigers don't make the playoffs. If they don't, it's probably that Houston did.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for the Tigers there anyway. But the reality is that Cleveland swept the series up there, and now they play 3 starting tomorrow in Cleveland.
Yeah, those are obviously massive games, and nobody could have possibly foreseen this, as you just said. But it's happened, and now it's time for somebody to win it. Skubal, he'll be pitching in this series.
Yeah, he will.
They lost, but the Guardians beat him last time he pitched. So it is surprising, and but you look at what Cleveland did in the trade deadline. They traded away Shane Bieber, who was on rehab assignment, and traded him to the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
man, it'd be nice. I'm sure they'd like to have him right now. But what they've done, and the Clase news hit, and then not too long thereafter, the Guardians came to Globe Life Field, and Cade Smith is their closer. He blew a save in that first game against the Rangers, and the Rangers swept them.
Yep.
And that at that point it was kind of like, oh geez, Cleveland's in trouble.
Yeah.
And then here they are.
Yeah.
A well-run organization, with their financial constraints and everything. So good for them, and it does help to have a superstar like Jose Ramirez, who
no doubt
remains and will always be, for I think the entirety of his career, one of the most underrated players in baseball.
Yeah, unbelievable. Tigers, meantime, did get swept over the weekend by the Braves too.
That's tough.
I mean, come on. It's one thing to get swept by the Guardians, who come into town and they're so motivated. Got swept by the Braves. I said it to Jeff actually before the show began off the air. I said, well, could be worse. We could be Tiger fans. Oh, that's right, I am. I mean, and my family, you can't even imagine how dejected everybody in Detroit is on this deal. So they're awful right now. See what happens there. As we mentioned, the other cold team is the Houston Astros, which they should be colder. I mean, the Rangers should have, anyway.
Yeah, let's not revisit that, John.
Yeah, we don't need to
have
go
to
there.
let that one.
But they are not a hot team right now, and it will be interesting to see which of those colder teams. Now, I think at this point the road is pretty easy for the Astros, right? What do they have?
They're on the road against
the
A's and the
Angels.
Yeah. So yeah, it does help, but when you're reeling, and it's those A's can be pesky.
Yeah, that's true.
With all that
that's
offense
true.
they've got,
yeah.
they can be really good. And JT Ginn, is pitching really well right now. His last 3 starts have been really good. He's going to pitch against the Astros, and he pitched well against them previously this season at Houston. So That'll be an interesting one to watch. But
Yeah.
if you aren't pitching well, the A's are going to beat you up.
Yep. It's true. So we can look at the wild card standings and see that unbelievably, the Texas Rangers still have a mathematical chance, Jeff. All they have to do, all that has to happen is for the Rangers to win out and for Cleveland and Boston to lose out.
Okay.
And if that happens, the Rangers would be a wild card team.
So they need Guardians and the Red Sox?
And the Red Sox.
Oh, so both of them have to do
I think
it.
I think the Red Sox can win one in this mathematical equation that I saw. But you basically need both teams to lose out. Yeah,
well,
and that's why because the Rangers do hold
the
tiebreaker over the Red Sox, and actually they'd have the tiebreaker over the Guardians too because they did play each other that last series, and they're already up 3-0.
Well, it would be so that one seems. I mean, Tigers sweep the Guardians, not out of the realm of possibility, even though they're playing like crap. Then the Rangers have the opportunity right there in front of them. We saw what they did with it last time, so not high hopes there. But hey, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's pull for.
And I promise
let's go crazy.
I promise you that I don't know if many people in the clubhouse are thinking of Mista saying, "Stop it." Yeah, all right, we get it, Mista. But I promise you, this is not lost on Bruce Bochy, right? Because he doesn't miss anything.
Yeah.
So I promise you, he knows, but he also knows.
He knows,
like you do, Mista, and like we do, that it ain't gonna happen.
It ain't happening.
No. Be nice. Be such a fun story to cover.
Yeah. And hey, it would be fun to replay this clip. Ain't it happening?
Yeah.
And it happens.
We said it. Yeah. 1 week ago.
I'll fall on that sword.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. Kyle Hendricks, Jeff, our old buddy Kyle Hendricks has said he's going to retire.
Well, that's good. And he had a nice start the other day.
Yeah.
He really did.
After a really terrible one before that, I think.
Yes.
I think it was the one right before that.
What a career, though. 8th-round pick from Dartmouth, baseball hotbed Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Rangers drafted him, traded him, and he went on to some really good things.
And isn't that where J.D. went to?
J.D. went to Cornell.
Cornell, okay.
Yeah. He would not have traded a Dartmouth boy, I don't think. But anyway, good for him. What a nice career. I bet that the Angels gleaned a lot from him, just being a veteran.
Sure. Guy
who doesn't throw hard enough to break a pane of glass, but knows how to have success by changing speeds. And, Mike Maddox always says you don't have to throw hard. You just have to put it in the right spot.
Yep.
And there are some Rangers this year who are proving that. His little brother proved that for a lot of years. And Kyle Hendricks did too. Good career for him.
Really good. And it's his career is being absolutely, as it should be, absolutely celebrated by Cubs fans.
Yeah.
Which is where we traded him. And the Cubs fans love him. He was a huge part of that rotation that got them to their first World Series in 100+ years.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's a success story right there.
Yep. Now, speaking of the Cubs, they're downtrodden again. Not really, but the Brewers have now won 3 straight division titles with the Cubs loss yesterday.
Okay.
The Brewers actually clinched after they lost. Which I always
seen
hated.
that before.
The Rangers did that a couple of times. It's like, are we really celebrating in here? But the Brewers lost a game, and then they still clinched later that day. So they did the whole celebration in the clubhouse. But it's pretty amazing. And Brewers have won 4 of the last 5 Central divisions in the National League, and 3 in a row.
Yeah, that's we were just talking about Cleveland and the
well-run organization
problems they have, but still find success. The Brewers, they do it at an even more stringent financial level, and we God dang it, the Rangers just swept them. That's the crazy thing.
I know.
And but you saw what they have. That lineup's tough. They've got Freddie Peralta, who's going to be a good pitcher for them in the postseason. and that bullpen is always good.
Yeah.
And so, you'll. But it's like, do they have the star player that can carry him? I think Yelich can.
Yeah.
He's more of an all around type, but they have good players.
They do, and they're well run, and they have really, really good chemistry, as you will when you're sneaking up on 90 wins already in a season. So that's going to do it for us. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Appreciate all the chats with us here today. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock, as we bring you another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.